Oh, it feels good to be back. And I'm doubly excited that we've got games from TSL 5. And we're not messing around, we're starting off with a winner's match all the way from round 4. To get this far, both of our players have heaped up some serious wins. Oh, and our Terran player's not going to make us wait to get in on the action. Suspicious SCV, 6 o'clock. Sliding away so fast I can barely catch him. Our Protoss player is setting up a wall off at his natural. He's got a classic gate and go. Let's get those intros in. Our Protoss player, hailing from South Korea, playing for Jin Air Green Wings, it's Trap! And from the Netherlands, our Terran player is TeamLiquid's uThermal! There's a second gas going up for uThermal. Whatever he's doing, it's probably not going to be environmentally friendly. Just a single gas to start from Trap. But I'm mostly interested in what is up with Thermy's proxy. Normally, if you're going to leave the sanctity of your base, the whole point is to decrease the rush distance to your opponent. He's kind of doing the opposite. We used to see Korean players do this in early Wings of Liberty and even in the beta. Maybe the main point is to really mess up your opponent's scout. It's all about the mind games. There goes our Cyber Core for Trap. Yeah, it's just the usual Reaper coming out of that Rax for Terran. Mechanically, there's very little gain by this. He's given up his defender's advantage, but he'll make up for it if he can get inside Trap's head. No sign of that so far. Trap's sticking to his build. I don't see him scouting for proxies like a madman. I know I would be. Oh, and now Thermy's gonna follow up with a hidden factory. I'm pretty sure Trap's probe noticed the complete and utter lack of production facilities in the Terran base. Is he gonna sweat, throw down an early shield battery? Maybe prioritize stalkers over the adepts? The core is gonna complete. At the very least, he's gonna want to chrono boost a unit. Yes, he's gonna chrono boost a stalker. And he's gonna start warp gates, of course. And there's a tech lab going onto that proxy Rax. That wall off kind of suggests there's a plan for that Rax to come home one day. Oh, the Reaper didn't even go over. He's gonna clear out the scouting probe. I think uThermal just knows how to appreciate a first blood. On paper, our two players could not be closer matched. uThermal's currently ranked number 20 in the world, Trap number 21. And now that the scouting probe's cleared out, rather than skullduggery, Thermy's putting down his command center. Oh, the Stalker's gonna miss the Reaper. He's gonna slip right by. No, I'm wrong. I think he's gonna see it. Oh, is Thermal not watching? He does not want to take that fight. Oh, he gets out of there in time. And now he's gonna divert to that conveniently located Reaper ramp. No, he psychs me out and jukes back up north. I think he's trying to fake out the Stalker and he got me instead. Fun things you can do on the map Simulacrum. And if you're Protoss, that includes putting down a Robo. A slightly delayed tech choice for Trap. Trap was not fooled by the Reaper's diversion. His Stalker zones him out. And he's going to be adding a third Stalker, by the way. The chrono boost is off the gateway, though. Trap's investing in it on researching his warp gates. That tech lab turned out to be for Thermy's factory. To make a tank, they do a terrific job of splatting Stalkers. An extra 30 damage against armored targets in siege mode. Oh, the Reaper is going to sneak inside through the Reaper door. There's nothing in the main but probes. It's open hunting season. Oh, but he wants the one probe that's trying to leave. That's going to lead him into the Stalker. The Reaper sees his mistake. He's going to flee for the door. The probe is saved, but the Stalker can't catch the home invader. Oh, but Trap's got another one ready with the cutoff. Can he get it? Grenade goes down to deflect. Oh, but he gets the kill. Trap with the Reaper trap. Oh, and if you watched my Estrella vs. Solar game the other week, you'll see that Trap is building the most deadly Protoss unit in the game, the Warp Prism. Oh, it's one of my favorite yoga moves. Land like command center. It's great for the spine and it always leaves me feeling centered. I tell you, ever since I went to that Starcraft yoga retreat, I've been like a new man. Oh, Trap's gonna load that Warp Prism with 4 of his 5 Stalkers. I was about to say he's not leaving much at home, but he's just warped in another 2. This has the potential to be so deadly, but he's got to land them outside the splash zones of those tanks. Ah, stim for uThermal. That usually suggests bio, but he's going really heavy on the tanks. And a robotics bay for Trap. We're gonna see Colossi or Disruptors. Trap's gonna try to slip in between Terran's 2 bases. Thermy's got a Cyclone on the case though. Teleporting paratroopers. Your science fiction nightmare. No medevac to support those Marines. And Terran's only just starting combat shields now. Oh, there's an SCV repairing that Cyclone in real time. That's too much for the Stalkers to handle. Trap picks off a pair of Marines and looks to retreat. Is he gonna make it? Yes! All 4 Stalkers escape. And with his Robo Bay completing and a healthy worker lead, it's a very good start for Trap. I used to always get confused by Robotics Facility and Robotics Bay. That's some really unfortunate naming. I'll share my secret for keeping them straight. But what is that Cyclone doing to those poor Marines? Terrans have the best glitches, man. Oh, the Stalkers do not want to go up that ramp. You get some splash damage. You get some splash damage. Everyone gets some splash damage. The Warp Prism puts the Stalkers down and finds they're all the colors of a forest fire. Thermy's going hunting. Or maybe this is just his push timing anyway. Stim and combat shields are about to complete. Trap decides to trade shots and it costs him a Stalker. He wants to try to slow down this push, but he doesn't have the firepower to do it. Especially not with a Cyclone in the front. Though maybe he just wants to throw away his broken Stalkers to buy some time. He's throwing down a couple shield batteries and he needs them to complete. Oh, did he just lose his Warp Prism? Things just got much uglier for the Protoss. uThermal's got a big army lead right now. It's more of an everything lead to be precise. The Colossus does not yet have the range upgrade. If he gets it, he'll have better range than the non-siege tanks. The ones in siege mode are going to be a problem no matter what. Trap drops a force field and pulls back. He's buying time. uThermal's going to use the opportunity to try to stake out a position on the high ground. He's going to get it. Vision is no longer an issue for the Terran. The Colossus count is 2 with the third one on the way, but the tank count is up to 5. Ow! And uThermal brought SCVs to build bunkers. Oh, this push is just going to be wicked. And Immortal's going to try to deke around on the left side. Trap knows he doesn't want those bunkers to go down, but he has to pay for every shot with tank fire. Terran's about to get position over those shield batteries. Fortunately, they are already exhausted. Third Colossus is almost done. Range upgrade is here. There's that patient Immortal waiting to snipe the back. The first shield battery goes splat, and the second one's right behind it. And the bunkers are finished and Terran is leapfrogging them forward. Trap's gonna go! It's a huge clash! Thermy's actually building an eBay in the middle of all this. Maybe to mess with the Colossus targeting. Trap has to pull back. He can't take the pounding, which means Thermal can focus on that Immortal that was cutting up its supply line. Problem solved. Trap has started a Twilight Council. Maybe he wants to try blinking on top of those tanks. It is a constant stream of tanks, Marines, and Marauders on the way to the battlefield. Trap is pinned in. He keeps trying to stockpile his units. Time, however, is not in his favor. He's gonna warp in around his sentries. We're still at the phase of the game in which Guardian Shield can make a huge difference. Oh, that's hilarious. Terran's attacking the gateway. Protoss decides it's in his way, so he's gonna destroy it. So Terran has to stop helping him. But here we go! Trap sends out a Zealot to soak up the tank hits and then tries to attack in between cooldown. He lasers up as much as he can and then retreats back to his base, which unfortunately is now right next door to the Terran push. Thermy's trying to add missile turrets to deal with those Colossi. Trap knows he does not want that to happen. Thermal's just about finished the starport though, and that is one way to deal with Colossi. Trap, on the other hand, is going to try to remake his Warp Prism. He's got to be a little peeved at himself for throwing away his first one. Oh, uThermal's getting position on the other ramp. There's going to be no room left for the Protoss. If he wants to retreat any farther, he's going to have to sack his natural. The Warp Prism is out. Can Trap do something with it? Because he is up against the wall. Shield battery warps in and starts to re-energize that Colossi. uThermal throws down a scan to see what does the Protoss have. He's going to catch that Warp Prism moving out. It's got a pair of Immortals, but Terran's got a squad of Marines. He might lose that. He does lose the Warp Prism. Trap is down to Plan D. He's got the Zealot leg upgrade and a Templar Archive on the way. But he can't wait. He's bringing out the Colossi. The support evaporates, and it's GG. Game 1 belongs to Liquid's uThermal. A well-executed Marine tank push that caught a piece of the Protoss's army on the way over. And you gotta love a bunker siege. The most interesting thing, though, was that weird opening. I remember the early days of Gumiho, when we used to see that hide your production buildings away from both bases technique. I gotta be honest, I didn't quite get where he was going with it, but maybe this game didn't let him showcase what the build really does. One really cool visual I gotta show you in case you missed it, but did you see that tank roll that stalker like a piece of tumbleweed? Every now and then I'm reminded of one of the cool visual effects in this game that I've forgotten about. I know I should probably see someone over my love for death animations. but it's the little details that really get me chuffed. Oh, before we jump to Game 2, I did promise I would share my secret technique for keeping separate the robotics bay versus the robotics facility. I used to get them confused, so I had to create a mnemonic device. But fair warning, once I put this in your head, you're not likely to ever get it out. This is your last chance to skip ahead to Game 2 because here it comes. The robotics bay is the one that has the 3 giant arms. Those arms are used to give a back massage to none other than David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff is the star of Baywatch, which is why it's called a robotics bay. Yes, I did just do that to you, and I am sorry. But now you will never confuse them again. So let me apologize by getting us to Game 2. Adjutant, if you would please.
Preparing to initiate Game 2. Increasing level of hype by 22.7%.
Thank you for that, Adjutant. We are back on... Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Thermi is at it again. We've got a rogue SCV. This one's departed even earlier than the last one in Game 1. Is it just me, or is the cheese ratio on Golden Wall unusually high? Trap sending out a probe as well, but it's just a standard low-ground pylon. But then that probe departs. Probably just an early scout, and he'll be glad that he did. uThermal's SCV has crossed the midpoint of the map already. He is building a depot back at home. I was wrong, Trap did not scout. He kept his probe back to drop his gateway, which he's doing now. He's going to repeat his gate and go from Game 1. Rax goes down. This is a full-on proxy. In fact, it's going to be a double Rax. Trap's initial scouting path is too far south to see it. He's going to miss it. That means he's probably going to be denied any opportunity to shut down the building SCVs. There's a high probability that this rush is going to happen. And by high, I mean, yeah, it's going to happen. Better do some fast intros. If you're camping up north, you want your underwear to be thermal! Admiral Akbar of the Rebel Alliance reminds us, it's a trap! Admiral Akbar's death was the worst off-screen death ever, by the way. Spoiler alert. The core goes down, proxies are still not found, though Trap knows they're hiding somewhere. This time he's cutting too far west. But Trap is making a zealot. He's not waiting for his core to complete. He's gonna need that pronto, because the first Marine is almost here. uThermal sends out an SCV. Maybe he's pretending it's a scout. Trap knows it's a Marine rush now. It's officially on like Donkey Kong. Marines can kite slow zealots, but maybe it can buy him some time. Oh, that fake scout SCV's throwing down a bunker right next to the core. Trap assigns 3 probes to try to kill the builder. Each side gets a worker kill, but I think Thermi squeaked the first blood. The bunker building SCV has escaped to the far side. That's bad. Now the probes are going to have to bring down the whole bunker, which is why Trap has brought in a crap ton more SCVs. He forces a cancel, but the Zell is forced out of position and the Marines are here. The probes are chased off and he's going to restart that bunker. A chrono boosted stalker's out. It's attacking the Marines, but he wants that building SCV. He gets it. The bunker's nothing more than spare parts, but the Marine count is up to 5. The Zell is just catching his breath, hoping his shields will recharge. And back at the Terran base, uThermal starts a factory. Trap does have a probe camped out there. A new building SCV has been shuttled to the front, but there are 2 stalkers now. With room to micro, stalkers will outrange Marines, and these Marines don't have a medevac to bolster them. But they can clear that zealot they trapped. Watching the stalker count rise, Thermi's making a marauder. He's even researching concussive shells to go with it. That's a stalker killer. Trap needs to take advantage of his window while he still has supremacy. He does. He's going to try to lower the Marine count. And now all of a sudden it's Thermi who's trying to buy time. Protoss is outmining Terran right now, and his newly minted shield battery's really going to help him hold. But here comes Marauder number 1. Just like that, Terran may have reclaimed the field. This is close. I am so loving this one. The factory is now done, and a tech lab is going to be added. Based on Game 1, I'm guessing that means a tank. Trap, on the other hand, is adding a second gate and a robo. That would be the non-David Hasselhoff one. With everyone teching, is it possible this game could actually stabilize? It's just amazing to me how non-all-in Terran rushes have become. Is there a word for non-all-in? There's got to be a term for that. Minimally invested? Trap's accumulated a ton of minerals. I think he's going to expand. Yeah, he's gonna put down a Nexus. No, he's warping in units. He sees those Marauders perched out there. What he doesn't see is that uThermal started a tank. It's not so easy to hide behind shield batteries when your opponent has a 12 range tank. And Trap did expand. That's gonna put a huge amount of pressure on the Terran. If his rush peters out, he's gonna be way behind economically. Rather than counter expand, Thermi decides to bring up a couple more SCVs. Now it's starting to get pretty all in. That tank is almost ready. Trap is starting an Immortal. That's gonna let him go toe-to-toe with those Marauders. Trap's probe reveals the timing on the tank, paying for it with his life. A liftoff? Is uThermal going home? But there's no signs of an expansion. I think he's trying to fake that his push is over. Yeah, he's hiding his army, hoping he'll bait out the Protoss. Trap's come out to try to get some free shots. Here comes uThermal. Remember, he's got concussive shells now. A couple sentries come up to help. Oh, there's the force field splits. And the Immortal arrives. There's a battle happening on both sides of the force field. This is so close. Who's got this? Who's got this? The Immortal goes down, but there's not much left for the Terran. But the tank is arriving to reinforce. This is so close. There's almost no units on the field. Each side's only got 3 units left. Trap does have another Immortal coming to reinforce. The tank's in the deep red. He gets it. 2 Marines and a Marauder versus 2 Stalkers. Only 1 Stalker left. Where's that Immortal? The Marauder can't take another hit. The Immortal is here. The replacement SCVs have arrived, but there's nothing to support them, and Thermi taps out. There's just no scenario in which he can get by that Immortal. And if he can't, he's left 2 bases to 1 for just too long. That was a very entertaining 2 racks, and it ties the series up 1 game apiece. I just want to quickly throw my thought out here. I could be blowing total smoke, but this is what I think uThermal was trying to do here. I think Game 1 was used to set up Game 2. In Game 1, he was trying to plant the idea in Trap's head that missing production facilities does not necessarily automatically equal a rush. But in Game 2, yeah, that's exactly what it means. So now, every time Trap finds a missing racks, he doesn't know what to think. I like it. It's some good hashtag mind games. Just one quick housekeeping note before we hit Game 3. You've probably noticed a little number ticking up and down in the upper right-hand corner. That's just a frame rate counter. I've left it on because a number of our viewers and subscribers have been helping me work on a lag issue. I just want to show everybody what I hope is evidence that the problem is finally corrected and say thank you. I wanted to do a shout out to everybody who's been helping me with this, but I'm afraid I'm going to miss somebody. So I just want to say I am grateful. I think the problem is I just got so used to the lag I have trouble seeing it. So it really helped me out when people showed me which videos it was actually appearing in. So I think we've turned the corner on that, and I can ask the adjutant to load us up Game 3, please.
Preparing to initiate Game 3. Accelerating competitive instinct by 40 submicrons.
40 submicrons? That's crazy! Wait a second, is there actually such a thing as a submicron? Who cares? We've got ourselves a tied series. I'm loving it. For the immediate moment, we've got to keep our eye on our Terran player. 2 games in a row, he's had some early SCV skullduggery. That one, though, is just building a depot. Interestingly, Trap is not building a low-ground pylon this time around. This looks like the tight, economical build. The probe refuses to miss any mining time. Whoa, we do have an SCV going out again. uThermal is at it once again. But what exactly, I could not say. Looks like he's going to stash his racks in a hidden location. Since he's so far away from his opponent's base, I almost want to call it an anti-proxy, but that's not the right word. Trap is going to execute a gate and go. Better get those intros. He's the 21st letter of the alphabet, followed by the Greek word meaning heat. He's uThermal! And he's grabbing that second gas again. His opponent is a term of American slang. A building where narcotics are sold illegally. It's Trap! Trap's scouting probe is about to arrive. He's going to discover his opponent once again has a problem with building production facilities in his main. He's got to ask himself, do I need to prepare for another rush? Or is this the weird thing I saw in Game 1? Trap decides he'll go core before Nexus, and in so doing he cuts off his mineral line, making it that much harder for Terran Harass to get inside. Which is good, because uThermal is indeed making a Reaper. But instead of building a factory next to the racks like he did in Game 1, he appears to be using that SCV to scout. Time's gonna see if he can find the missing racks. But his first attempt is gonna be a whiff. Whoa, the factory is getting built, only it is a proxy. This is an awesome way to keep your opponent guessing. It's almost like he's building at random locations on the map. Trap is just gonna go ahead and expand. It worked well for him last game, but he's probably gonna want a chrono boost in a unit. Yeah, Trap's going with Stalkers again. A good defensive choice. uThermy's building a reactor on his racks. And once again, rather than harass, his Reaper's gonna be used to kill the scouting probe. That's 3 first bloods in a row for Thermy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a record for this channel. And since we have to play at least one more game, he has a chance to make it 4. Warp gates has started, but here's something different. Terran's completing the wall off with depots. There's no sign of a plan to bring that racks home. Everdream is a dark map. I want to try a new feature we call night vision goggles. It just brightens up the screen and makes the viewing a little easier. Feel free to let me know if you like it or don't like it. Right now I just plan on using it on the maps with really dark tile sets. There's a starport and a tech lab on that factory, and the Reaper's gonna catch that Nexus finishing up and know the timing. So far, Trap has found exactly 0 of the proxied buildings, but he has gone up to 2 Stalkers. If he keeps him coming like he did in Game 2, he could be okay. But I guess that depends what Terran's actually doing. Trap's got a scout in the map that's hoping to find out. He's getting warm. The Reaper's out there hunting, and he could get shut down. The pathing on that probe looks pretty good. I think Trap's gonna hit it. A pair of rallied Marines are gonna get there first, though. Guess what's behind the bushes? Your unmistakable doom! No, he got it. I think he got it. He at least got vision of the starport. We'll just get a quick check on that 3rd Stalker coming out. Yeah, he saw the starport. Maybe he can guess there's a tank coming, but he hasn't seen that. But Thermy's going for it. Trap shield battery is gonna finish. And his robo isn't gonna be that far behind. If he pulls back, he can use that to bolster his defenses. But we also know if he hides behind his shield batteries too long, Thermy just brings up the tanks. And since he saw the starport, he's also worried about drops. The robo has finished. Trap's gonna chrono boost an immortal. Man, those Marines gotta hike a long way. uThermal's probably wishing he built it where his other buildings are. Tank is done. Liberator has been started. But warp gates are also done, so Trap can warp in a sentry and a zealot. Here comes the clash. Oh, Trap really wants the SCV. He doesn't want bunkers on his doorstep again. Oh, but the medevac heals the SCV. And the tank is here. Oh, those Stalkers cannot soak that kind of damage. The zealot might, so Trap keeps him in front and uses him as a Protosian shield. You can't be a human shield if you're not human. Call me a speciesist, but that's the way I see it. Well, it didn't take long for that shield battery to run out of juice. Oh, a timely scan lets the tank hit the immortal on the high ground. And then the medevac flies over to complete the vision. And now the bunkers are going down. At least one anyway. Trap's adding to his immortal count. He lived through this in Game 1 and it didn't go well for him. He tags the bunker building SCV, but now he's got to dodge liberation zones. And a backup SCV gets to work on the bunker. I just love how diverse uThermal's attack is. He's got like one of everything. It makes it so hard for your opponent to counter you with a composition change. What do you make more of? Right now, if you're Trap, anything and everything. The Liberator's leapfrogging forward. Trap's not gonna wait, he's gonna try to hit him from 2 sides. The bunker completes though, and it gets loaded. Trap prioritizes the Liberator, he gets it. And he's also focusing down the bunker. But that leaves the tank and Cyclone free to dish out damage. Trap pulls back. Somewhat satisfied with the bite he took out of the Terran army. Like Game 2, Trap has a significant worker lead. And uThermal's one basing. If he can survive, time will be in the Protoss favor. Trap's pulling double the minerals, and if he can hold on, he won't have to care how efficiently he's trading. Oh, but he might be able to break the Terran contain right now! The Cyclone goes down! But so does the last Immortal! The tank is gonna go, yes it does! Suddenly it's just Marines and Stalkers and one lone Zealot. uThermal can't like that deal, he's gotta get out of there. The medevac picks up and leaves, and the reinforcing SCVs that came all the way over are gonna have to come all the way back. Or I'm wrong and he's gonna totally try again with no army. Oh, I see he's banking on this reinforcing tank to turn the tide. Even unsieged, the tank still does bonus damage against the armored Stalkers. The back and forth these two players have is seriously unbelievable. Somehow uThermal is regaining his ground. But there is another Immortal just seconds from the fight. And Trap is starting a Warp Prism. uThermal sees the Immortal and the battle swings the other way. Now we're back to retreating. Terran's raised enough money to start another Liberator. And uThermal looks like he's gonna try to go back up that ramp again. I think with all the battle chaos, both players are in the dark as to who has the army advantage right now. It's hard to know if this is your decisive moment or if you're just throwing units away. Oh, an Immortal Warp Prism duel is gonna make life miserable for that tank. Trap wants to fight his way to the production facilities. If he can get them, that's probably game. Tank is dead. There's another one on the way, but at this point, Trap is making Immortals almost just as fast. Tanks take 32 seconds, Immortal 39 seconds. But I don't think uThermal has the money to roll them out constantly like Trap does. There was a player pause there, but we won't see it on the replay. Somehow uThermal forced his way all the way up to the enemy gates. But the Warp Prism brings back the second Immortal and Terran's gotta lift off. uThermal has saved his tank and 4 Marines. But the Warp Prism is in hot pursuit. If only one of these ships had taken the time to install some guns. Trap is battling his way back to the production facilities. Thermy's gonna try to use the bush cover to get an advantage. That's so smart, he's picked this spot on purpose. But Trap's just got more stuff. Or does he? There's 2 tanks. I do love a back and forth game. That Liberator's halfway done. You gotta love uThermal's one base spirit. And as soon as I say that, he concedes the position. True has control of the production facilities, but if he doesn't focus down the starport, the Liberator is gonna get out. He goes for the tech lab and he gets it, but there's nothing building at the factory. Thermy's gonna save his factory. He can lift it off. The Liberator makes it out. This is like the evacuation at Hoth in Empire Strikes Back. Everyone starts cheering. He broke the blockade. But don't forget, uThermal's got another Liberator which is trying to harass the mineral lines. Or I should say, was trying to harass. Here comes the new one that we just saw escape. There are 2 Stalkers available to defend the natural. One of them, though, is badly injured from the first Liberator. Meanwhile, Trap's looking to finally mount his counter-assault. And the first thing he's going to do is donate his Warp Prism. Oh, he loves doing that. But he does shut down the second Liberator. uThermal did get his tank home, and that's going to help him guard the ramp. Does Trap have enough to push in and win this game? He decides he does not have enough to take the tank fire and he pulls back. He is remaking another Warp Prism. uThermal's got 4 stray Marines. He's going to send them into the natural rather than try to get them back home. But there's way too many Stalkers getting worked in for them to be effective. Trap's got more than double the workers at this point. Mules are keeping uThermal alive, but he's only got a single orbital. Wow, that Rax is still going, and Trap still doesn't have vision of it. Warp Prism is done, and Trap's adding a Twilight Council. uThermal's gonna try to get Stim. He doesn't have a starport anymore, though, to make medevacs to support it. He's hanging on by a thread here, but Trap is giving him a little bit of time. I think he's waiting for his Warp Prism to finally get into position. uThermal's gonna need one heck of a hold. Trap's gonna start Blink Research. It looks like for a split second he was gonna go for the Zealot leg upgrade, but then changed his mind. His Warp Prism is loaded with 3 Zealots. Anybody remember Zealot bombs from Brood War? It was the Protoss late game method for getting rid of tanks. A lone Zealot tests that ramp, but Trap's main force is wrapping around the side. Protoss is still out of Terran's vision. Oh, he's just slipped inside. It looks like it's elevator time. Wouldn't it be cool if Zealots had grappling hooks or like bat cables? That way they could scale cliffs, but they'd be slow enough that you could take 3 shots at them while they're doing it. Here we go, uThermal needs this hold. His high ground advantage has been neutralized and he's only got a single tank. Stim pack completes just in time. Terran pulls every SCV he's got left. It's a nail biter, but uThermal might just have enough. uThermal has killed the Warp Prism yet again. The Immortals are gone. He's actually gonna clean this up. The last 2 Stalkers try to flee, but they've got nowhere to go. However, while this was all going on, Trap started a Dark Shrine. That is a huge problem for uThermal. His official SCV total is 2. All of his command center energy is going to Mules. He is not gonna have any scans. As valiant a hold as that was, oh my gosh, uThermal's throwing everything into a final counterattack. The Dark Shrine's actually at the natural. If he hits it before it completes, uThermal actually has the bigger army. This could be a monstrous comeback. Oh, but there are now 3 DTs on the field. There goes your fairy tale ending. I don't know how he stops this. Unless he's been saving energy. 2 DTs move to defend, and Trap sends 1 to attack the Terran army while it arrives. Oh, he brings down a tank with a single swipe. It's the Predator versus a bunch of extras. There's no Arnie here. uThermal's army's falling. Oh, he knows it. He taps out. Trap takes the lead, going 2-1 in the series. uThermal is just 1 game away from falling out of the winner's bracket.
If Trap can win just one more, he goes to the semifinals. I cannot wait to see Game 4. I don't know why I said that, because you know I obviously am. Just one quick note. The so-called night vision goggles is really just a renamed feature for my graphics card. I just want to show you the difference back and forth so you can get a sense of it and you can maybe let me know what's better. Is it the natural darker texture or the lighter sharper texture? The lighter's easier to follow, but the units look a little less natural to me. It might be something we really just save only for Nightshade. That's the map that has the oppressively dark texture. It feels even worse than ever dreamed to me. Anyways, Adjutant, if you would be so kind as to initiate Game 4 for us.
Maximizing composition awareness. The game begins now.
Nothing gets the juices flowing like an elimination round. Even though they're both playing in the exact same game, the psychology will be absolutely different for each of our two players. He came from behind, but now he has the comfort of a one-game lead. He was recently awarded the Nest T Award for 10 consecutive seasons of GSL Code S. He is Trap! That is mucho veteran status. The consistency required to achieve that is off the charts. I keep watching for Terran's SCV to dart out. It hasn't happened. There's the gate and go for Trap. Where's the racks gonna go down? Holy smokums, look at this illegal barracks placement. He's building at his ramp, in his main. Well, that deserves an intro. This Maverick was a 2016 Grand Champion of IEM Shanghai. He is uThermal. He did go gas first though, so maybe I shouldn't act like this is the most standard thing in the world. But after you watch 3 one-base strategies in a row, it looks pretty tame. Trap's probe is all confused by this. He's like, how do I even react to this? It's been so long. Well, for the moment, he's going to finish his Reaper block by putting down his core before his Nexus. That's become very common for Protoss on Nightshade. The Nexus will go down, and we're going to see a Reaper expand out of Terran. That is, assuming Trap's probe doesn't execute a block. Terran has devoted that extra SCV to chasing that probe out. Orbital has begun, but where is that command center? It's going down. Not a significant delay there, but if that probe doesn't leave, uThermal could actually get 4 first bloods in a row. The Reaper's about to pop, and the core will complete. Trap's gone Stalker first almost every game, but this time he's going to chrono boost an Adept instead. He doesn't have to worry about that hidden Rax this time. That Rax is building a reactor, by the way, which is probably going to be donated to the factory building right behind it. Man, does anybody even remember the reactor switch? I feel like it's been so long. Oh, the Reaper just missed the probe. But if the probe goes back west, he's going to be spotted. Trap put him in Thermie's vision, which means he is Reaper bait. uThermal's going to beat his own record and get a 4th first blood in a row. That's pretty cool, but what's actually more significant for our game is that Trap's opening tech choice is going to be a Twilight Council. Maybe a Resonating Glaive strategy? Look at that, uThermal's only building his 2nd gas now. How strange. Oh, Adept arrives. Reaper's here to defend, but he can't handle that. And there's still an SCV doing the low ground build on that command center. It's almost done. It's going to be close. And he gets it. They both kind of do. uThermal completes the command center and Trap gets the kill. Well, the 2nd Adept is going to join the 1st. Protoss has more firepower than Terran can handle for the moment. But behind his wall, uThermal is cranking units. The Adepts are going to go up the ramp and vandalize a depot. They spray paint Billy Loves Jenny, and then they shade away. uThermal likes his Marine Hellion count. He's coming out. He puts the Reaper in front to tank the shots and then pulls it back. Nicely done. The Adepts have no shields and they have to get out of dodge. Wonder Twins powers activate. I'm pretty sure that's what Adepts say when they teleport. You'll probably hear it better in the next patch. Meanwhile, Trap is sufficiently concerned with what he saw to put down a shield battery. It looks nice next to his robo. Meanwhile, the Terran starport is making a medevac. And a tech lab for the racks. He did indeed donate the reactor to the factory. Don't blame the observer who missed it. He was busy watching the dazzling Adepts. Oh, but I did catch that medevac load up with 5 Marines. Terran is pushing out. Robo completes and Trap starts an observer. That's likely to complement the mobility afforded by his blink research. But first he'll have to stop this push. The Adept will give him advance notice that it's coming. I'll be interested to see what Terran has planned. He's gonna hit with this long before his stim completes. Medevac's here. Trap tries to finish his wall. It gets blocked by a Marine drop. That was pretty cool. Oh, but the medevac's not done. It picks up the Hellions and brings them to the main. Trap with a blinking block. But the Hellions don't care. They're killing probes anyway. 4, 5. The Stalkers are cleaning it up, but that means there's no firepower at the natural. That's where the Marines are killing probes. Trap did get that medevac though. uThermal's caught up in probes, but he's had to pay for it. Trap is gonna get the cleanup. You know what? I'm gonna turn off the goggles. I'm all paranoid about frame rate now. I should probably be running more tests with it before I start using it in uploads. There, we're back to the darkness of Nightshade, where we see that uThermal's building a bunker. Right now his entire army consists of 3 Marines. Trap's sending a much bigger force over. But there's a 34-second rush distance on Nightshade. uThermal plans to have an army by the time he gets there. And he might have stim too. Trap's bringing up an observer. He might be looking to blink up inside the main. Thermy's SCV's gonna warn him the attack's coming. The Adept's gonna shade right past the bunker. Get to the mineral line. uThermal dispatches an Adept to deal with it, but the Marauder does double damage against armored targets. An Adept is light. She can soak a surprising number of Marauder hits, which is gonna give her a chance to clear some SCVs. Trap gets his worker lead back. Oh yeah, Trap's totally looking to try to blink up. But he's gotta be worried about tank placement. He's actually switched his observer into surveillance mode. It's become stationary in exchange for 25% more vision. Oh, the Robo Baywatch completes. But look at this. It's the first time we've actually seen a forge. It's researching an attack upgrade. What a novelty. I should mention uThermal's actually ahead on that attack upgrade. His eBay's been finished for a while. Those Stalkers aren't doing anything. He might be just trying to contain until he can get a Colossus up there. Trap's got one in production now, and he's also researching the range upgrade. uThermal's actually adding a missile turret, which is great against Colossus. But I think he's actually doing it because of the threat of DTs. Because of the blink, he knows there's a Twilight Council. So it's not hard for Trap to drop a shrine. Oh, big medevac load. But the surveillance obs caught it. Trap is moving to intercept. This is what he's been waiting for. Oh, but look at the wily uThermal. He drops everything outside his natural. The drop was just for show. And now he's gonna push out. Trap's been stood up. He's like, what? He should have been here by now. And it's gonna be uThermal who's pushing out with the larger army. Trap could be caught teching. He's setting himself up well for later in the game, but right now there might be a window for Terran to get some damage in. Oh, uThermal is a believer in the sacrificial SCV. Oh my god, is he getting away? No, the SCV just gave up and died. uThermal drops a scan and charges in with his army. He uses a single Marine to soak up the first round of hits. Then he stims his Marines and charges up the ramp. Guardian Shield is active. There are Stalkers in position to hit that west flank. Trap has cleared his ramp, but the Marines keep coming. It looks like it's gonna be bunker push time. 1, 2, 3 bunkers going down. Trap has gotta be sick of this. He's got his ranged upgrade. He's gonna scorch those bunkers from a distance. The siege tanks are leapfrogging forward though. We know they can keep those Colossus back. Actually, Trap's gonna swing his Colossus all the way around and try to attack from the low ground. Thermi uses his scan to detect the maneuver, but he may be too late. No, his reinforcements arrive and pound away the shields of those Colossus. Trap wants to isolate the Terran army. There are 3 medevacs rejuvenating those stim Marines. uThermal keeps sending in single units to draw the Colossus attacks. That's keeping his real damage dealers, the tanks, fresh. Trap taps out. He says, forget it, let's go to Game 5! Well, I can't make you wait to get to Game 5, because that would mean I'd have to wait too, and that's just not gonna happen. But what's going on here in my view is uThermal is just abusing the superior range and damage from his tanks. Once he gets those sieged up, Trap has no answer. His Colossi are outranged. If he cowers at his shield batteries instead, they just get blown away from distance. This has always been an issue for ground toss, ever since the Immortal was altered, so it was no longer the ultimate anti-tank weapon. With the current iteration of Hardened Shield called Barrier, it's still pretty darn good against tanks. But the old Hardened Shield, I miss it. It made it almost immune to siege tank fire, dropping its damage from 70 to 10. So what does TOS do now? There's charge lots. With their speed, they can get inside the tank's range. But it takes a long time to get the charge upgrade, aka Zealot Legs. 100 seconds, in fact. And that's only after your Twilight Council completes first. And the Zealots usually have to survive the Stim Marines. What I still think deserves a second look is the Graviton Beam ability of the Phoenix, aka Lifts. Pop that tank up and then your Colossi can feast on the Marines when they try to rescue it. The problem is, that's a hard transition. It's expensive to get the Stargate, especially if you're trying to assemble a potent ground army. But I'd give it some consideration, because the tanks are really giving Trap troubles right now. Well, forget me. Let's see what Trap thinks about all this. Adjutant?
Preparing Game 5. Reducing excess caster speed and volume by 20%.
I'm not you two, Adjutant. I thought we were friends. Oh, did we just have another SCV sneak off already? Yep, we're gonna have shenanigans in a rubber match. I should have known. Zen is a map with a short rush distance, and that makes it very amenable to proxy strategies. There's a depot being made behind the mineral line, and a third SCV is rushing off to join the first. Meanwhile, Trap's probe is gonna head off right after he drops his initial pylon. He might actually be up to skullduggery himself, but he's not gonna catch the Terran SCV that's winding towards his third base location. Rax number 1 goes down. Better get those intros. He couldn't finish his opponent off in Game 4, but he has the luxury of one final chance. It's Trap! His opponent has new life in the tournament. Looking for a shot at the final bracket. It's TeamLiquid's uThermal! Trap's probe arrives. Not only are there no production facilities, there's no gas either. That's because everything's being invested into a triple Rax. With everything on the line, uThermal is really gonna roll the dice. His one basing has been potent so far. Maybe this variation puts him over the top. It looks like Trap's second scouting probe is gonna have the right vector. Oh yeah, he's gonna find it. He's already dropped his cybercore and started a Zealot. But now he knows it's a gasless triple. That's a whole lot of Marines. He's probably going to want Stalkers like he used in Game 2 to kite them. Those Raxes are all going to complete, and the first Marine's going to pop out, and he's probably going to get a 5th First Blood. No, it looks like the probe escapes. There are no shield batteries for the Protoss. Thermy's bringing SCVs. He's going to be making bunkers again. But the Zealot is here. Big defensive probe pull, 6 of them in fact. Can Trap buy time for his core to complete? Thermy needs to scrap for space to get his bunker down. He finds it. Trap's gonna counter with 1, 2, 3 shield batteries. Oh, the Zealot's going for the building SCV. He's gonna get it. That's the First Blood. Thermy's chance for greatness with 5 in a row is denied. But he has a second SCV to pick up that bunker. There's 3 Marines now. The DPS is starting to rise. But there is now a Stalker on the field. With the Marines backing off, the probes are gonna charge the bunker. Terran has to inflict damage. Once again, he's way behind on workers. Workers are dying on both sides, but the bunker has completed. So have the shield batteries, though. It's a frenzied melee for all the marbles. Who's got this? Bunker looks to be going down, but the probes are paying for it with their lives. The bunker falls. It's not a cancel. uThermal took his chances. Oh, the Marine count is now up to 8. Though as soon as I say that, the Stalkers start cutting that number down. The Zealot is gone, and Thermy clears the Protoss mineral line, but it looks like his army's gonna get cleaned up. That is huge for Protoss, just huge. Terran has very few workers left, and he's continuing to dump his money into making Marines 3 at a time. Trap wants to see if he can get his Stalkers on top of the production. If he does, this rush is officially over and possibly the game. uThermal's got a hidden squad of Marines looking to take advantage. Can Terran get a sandwich on the Stalkers? No, Trap slides out and kites another Marine. Terran has the larger army, but you wouldn't know it by the way Trap is taking advantage of his superior range. Trap's actually increasing his worker count, and he's about to finish Warp Gates, the first and only upgrade in the game. uThermal's trying to amass a sufficient cluster of Marines that he can pose a threat. He knows if he can get a big enough clump, he'll be unstoppable. But Trap just has no intention of letting him get there. The hunted has become the hunter. Oh man, I love a good cliche. There is still no gas for uThermal, which means mass Marines without upgrades has to remain his weapon of choice. Oh, that's a badly injured cluster. They can all be focused down with one-shots. Trap knows it. Ooh, uThermal's just getting depopulated. He's got to start rebuilding his Marine army from scratch. There are as many Stalkers as there are Marines now, and that is not good for the Terran. There's the proxy liftoff. It's off to plan B for uThermal, but does he have one? Oh, he's trying to fake a transition. He's going to land a quick hop away and try to come at this again. Unfortunately, Trap means to counter. There is no defense at the Terran base, none at all. uThermal's only chance for his tournament life is a base race now, because he's about to lose every last worker he has. Here comes the desperate Marine force. They have no choice but to soak the Stalker shots. They've got to run past the shield batteries. But even the probe sense their weakness. They're going after him. It's over. uThermal's gambit fails and Trap is the winner. Trap goes to the final bracket where he will be in the winners finals. Let's give the Protoss their due. But let's also give it up for uThermal's multifaceted rush strategies. You know how I love it when players design tactics for an entire series. uThermal kept mixing up his proxies and kept Trap guessing. Putting aside this last one, which fell flat pretty hard, he really laid down some really good games. I'm not sure he wanted to move away from the tanks that were generating the wins, but he probably anticipated an adjustment from Trap if he stayed pat. Hope you all enjoyed this VOD. It's our humble channel's first 5-game series. So just let me say thank you to those who took the time to watch, and especially those who subscribed. It really helps keep me going. And thanks to TeamLiquid and Shopify for running a cool tournament and making their replays available. I know this fan appreciates it. If you've got insights or crazy theories on this series, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments below. I love learning from you guys. From my base to yours, wait. I've got an outro for that. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.